Real Madrid enjoying their final training session ahead of Wednesday night's game with Ajax, the first leg of the last 16 clash against the Dutch side, against whom Real Madrid boast a really strong record. They've won each of their last 6 matches against Ajax, scoring 20 goals in the process and conceding just 2. Of course, Real Madrid coming into the game in really strong form as well. 5 successive La Liga victories for Santiago Solari's men. It's one of their strongest runs in the last year. Not too many injuries either. Plenty of confidence and plenty of reasons to hope that Real Madrid can put in a big performance in this stadium on Wednesday evening up against an Ajax side who, as we said, don't have a good record against Real Madrid, and they don't have a good record since the turn of the year. They've suffered some eye-catching defeats. On Friday even, they were beaten by Heracles in the Eredivisie, and a couple of weeks ago they lost 6-2 in one of their big matches of the season away to Feyenoord. So not necessarily enjoying their best moment of the season, Ajax, while Real Madrid, as we said, are probably enjoying their best moment of the season, flying high, scoring goals, playing well, feeling good, and with very few injuries to talk about. Marcos Llorente and Isco left back in the Spanish capital because of injury. Apart from that, though, the matchday squad, you can see there, is full of the first team squad, so no noticeable absentees. And as we see here, live images from the Johan Cruyff Arena, which will be absolutely sold out for the game on Wednesday. A long time since Ajax had made it through to the knockout stages of the competition, and the home fans will be absolutely determined to make the most of it. As we said, it's not going to be easy against a side who have consistently made life very, very difficult for Ajax. There's only ever been one draw between Ajax and Real Madrid. It came in their first ever competitive encounter in this competition, but it was the European Cup then in Amsterdam back in 1967-68 season. It ended 1-1. That was it. Ever since then, we've not had another draw between these two sides. 22 years since Ajax progressed through a Champions League knockout stage. The 1996-97 campaign. And the Dutch side overcame Atletico Madrid in the quarter-finals before being eliminated by Juventus in the semi-final. Real Madrid into the knockout stages once again. We've become used to it. 22 years in a row, Real Madrid, 22 seasons in a row, Real Madrid have made it through to the knockout stages of this competition. It is a record run in the competition. No team has come close to making it through to the knockout stages in so many successive seasons. And of course, we've been in the semi-finals in each of the last 8 campaigns, which is also a record run, looking to make it through to the semi-finals for a 9th successive season, and who knows, another final, and why not a 4th successive title. But as the manager and Thibaut Courtois, who we heard speaking before in the pre-match press conference, were saying, we want to take things game by game. Very important not to get ahead of ourselves. Very important not to think about the Copa del Rey Clasico that we have coming up as well, not to think about the league games that we have coming up, and to focus 100% on this match against Ajax, and not to necessarily think that, well, we've got a really difficult month of February with we had the Madrid derby at the weekend, we've got a couple of Clásicos in the month of February as well, and not to think that, well, we're heading to Ajax, this should be straightforward compared to those games. Absolutely not. To treat this game with the utmost respect. Group stages, Real Madrid winning their group, of course. Ajax finishing second behind Bayern Munich. Real Madrid had more shots and more touches inside the opposition box than any other team in the group stages of the Champions League. winners in 4 of the last 5 years. As we all know, Madridistas, this has been a glorious golden era for Real Madrid, the club, the players and the fans. But there is a feeling that they can certainly give a really good account of themselves this year and try and get as far as possible in this competition. It is not normal to win the Champions League every year. Real Madrid have made it look normal, and it is far from the norm. This is a vastly talented and vastly experienced squad as well. So many Champions League matches between them. And Sergio Ramos on Wednesday night is almost certainly going to reach the figure of 600 games in a Real Madrid shirt. It is quite a landmark for the Real Madrid captain, who of course is enjoying his best ever scoring season. Scored his 11th goal of the season at the weekend. He is taking penalties this season, but nevertheless, very, very impressive. So we see here the rondos, the traditional warm-up to every training session. Of course, there won't be too much work done in these opening 15 minutes. Of course, the opening 15 minutes open to the press, and there is a lot of press in the Johan Cruyff Arena. There is the manager, Santiago Solari. Knows all about this competition. Winner of the Champions League with Real Madrid as a player. Let's see how far he can go in this competition in his first season as Real Madrid manager. I want to treat Ajax, of course, with the respect they deserve, but certainly it's not been the most impressive start to the year for Ajax, but they'll be looking at this game as perhaps a chance to springboard and bounce back. Just 2 wins in the 5 games that they've played so far in 2019, including a 4-4 with Heerenveen, and that 6-2 defeat at Feyenoord. They've shipped quite a few goals, and Real Madrid will be looking to score, of course, in Amsterdam, get a vital away goal, if possible. Last away match in this competition was a 2-0 victory in the Stadio Olimpico against Roma, and a 5-0 victory in Czech Republic against Victoria Pilsen as well. Last season in the knockout stages, Real Madrid faced some really, really tough opponents, but won all the away legs, winning in Paris 2-1 against PSG, winning in Turin 3-0 against Juventus, and winning in Munich 2-1 against Bayern. A really, really tough path to the final last season, but Real Madrid came through it. Now, the last 16 up against Ajax, who were on paper are the underdogs in this tie. What we've seen season after season in the Champions League, there are always upsets, there are always unexpected results, and there's always a side who you don't necessarily expect to making it through to the latter stages. Last season, Roma surprised many people by making it through to the semi-finals of the competition. This is the Champions League. We're into the last 16 now. We're into the knockout stages. There are no easy games, and Real Madrid know this. That is one of the advantages of being such an experienced side. in the latter stages of European competition. They know exactly what is needed to win European ties, and to win two-legged European ties as well, because it's a different ball game. You've got to go home and away. But there is a feeling Real Madrid just know what has to be done. They know how to play these ties, and that was shown, that was very much in evidence, particularly last season in the competition, seeing off highly fancied competition in each of the 3 knockout rounds before making it through to the final. Memorable final, of course, that 3-1 victory over Liverpool. Vinicius Jr. started 11 games in a row for Real Madrid. Will he get a start in the Champions League on Wednesday night? It's up for the manager to decide, of course. See Karim Benzema there, Real Madrid's top goal scorer this season in all competitions. 3 goals in the Champions League as well. Really does love playing in this competition. Karim Benzema, the 4th top scorer of all time in the Champions League. Magnificent arena, the Johan Cruyff Arena. Will be very, very loud on Wednesday evening, as you can imagine. A hostile atmosphere for Real Madrid, but they will be more than able to cope with it. As we said, 6 wins in a row against Ajax for Real Madrid, including a 4-1 victory here in 2012. You might remember that game for the brilliant bicycle kick scored by Karim Benzema in that game. He rates that as possibly one of his greatest ever goals. Season before that, in 2011, Real Madrid won 3-0 here. Season before that, they won 4-0 here. They've had some really, really important wins. Those were group stage matches, of course. Now we are in the knockout stages. It is different. You do have a second leg, but you don't necessarily have any too much margin for error. If you lose a group stage game, well, you probably know that there are 5 other games, or certainly another chance to make up for it. But in knockout stages, it's very, very different. You can see Gareth Bale there. He scored 5 goals in his last 6 Champions League games, scoring in the final in 2018 and 2014 as well. An extra time goal against Atletico Madrid. Those 2 wonder strikes against Liverpool in last season's final as well. Brought up the century of Real Madrid goals at the weekend with a marvellously taken strike against Atletico Madrid in the Madrid derby, the 3rd goal of 3 in that 3-1 victory at the Estadio Wanda Metropolitano. Had 3 big away games in a row for Real Madrid after the Camp Nou Clásico in the Copa del Rey, the first leg of the semi-final last week, that 1-1 draw, which puts Real Madrid in a good position in that semi-final. Then a trip to the Wanda Metropolitano, now a trip to the Johan Cruyff Arena in Amsterdam as well. So as we said, 3 big away games for Real Madrid, but they look good, and particularly impressive was how strong they looked against Atletico Madrid. They played in midweek at the Camp Nou against Barcelona in a big, big game. And Atletico Madrid had the whole week to prepare for that Madrid derby. But it was Real Madrid who looked physically stronger, sharper, quicker. Feels like Real Madrid could be coming good right at the vital point of the season. And let's see. Still a lot of football to be played. Real Madrid fighting on 3 different fronts. With the league, the Copa del Rey and the Champions League as well. And there is something so special about this competition for Real Madrid. You can sense it if you've ever been to the Bernabeu on a big European night. You can feel it in the air. And it also is infectious. The players feed off it. When they hear that Champions League anthem, they know that this is Real Madrid's competition. And their opponents know it as well. Nobody wants to face Real Madrid in the Champions League. And Ajax know that they will have their work cut out on Wednesday. So we'll leave you here from the Johan Cruyff Arena.
There's a place with no address, where millions of fans live. A place where no matter the time or the distance, it's always open. Wherever you are.